Hello and welcome back to the Midnight Manor, the channel where we focus on the issues and skills around the lifestyle so that you can have a successful, spicy relationship. Today we're going to be going over some of the essentials to become a great submissive. We're going to be going over how you can develop these before you're in a relationship and also what you can do to help nurture this once you found yourself a partner. And Doms, we haven't forgotten about you. I'm going to be including some tips of how you can help to identify these traits in your potential partner as you're getting into a relationship. Now don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, because that's how we make the channel bigger, and in this case, bigger is better. Let's get started. So the first area that we're going to be covering is acts of service. This is really the core foundation of what's going to make for a great submissive. It's the ability of what you're able to give to your dominant. These spicy relationships are complementary, where both sides are giving something in particular. From the Doms, we were talking before about the ability to take the initiative, to show leadership, structure, have strong communication. These are gifts that they're able to give to the sub to help create a more liberating experience for them. The submissive is also giving as well, and one of the most common versions of this is various forms of acts of service. One of the easiest ways to do so is by service through the visual component. This is how you are dressing, how you're acting, to be able to help take both of you outside of the vanilla lives that you know and create that unique kinky experience between you. Some of the most classic examples we have is lingerie. Oftentimes when you think about it, what was one of the first ways that we get exposed to the lifestyle is when we're watching movies or TV and you see someone walking into a room and their partner, or they're in like this strange club. All of a sudden people are dressed in latex, leather, you're seeing all kinds of cool kinky toys lying all around. It immediately creates the impact that you're no longer existing within the vanilla world, that you're stepping outside of it and you're creating something amazing, that you are doing so that's to your specific needs. Now you could start off with having basic items in your collection, different forms of lingerie. For male submissives, kilts are apparently a very popular option there as well. And it's actually not too difficult to be able to start to explore this or to be able to acquire multiple items. Two ways that I found to be successful in this is to go on an online shopping site like Temu, where you can do large bulk orders of various different pieces. Another fun activity is to go to your local thrift store. We used to do this all the time when we were doing our kinky wrestling events. We would get a bunch of cheap items and none of them would make it to the next day. They would just get ripped and torn off. The ability to, just the idea of ripping clothes apart, that you're never going to be able to use this again, is creating that unique experience, as well as crossing a minor taboo where you don't normally rip the clothes that you're wearing. You want to preserve them. You purchase them for a reason. You want to keep them. And now you can use them to just rip apart. That's going to be something that is memorable for sure, and very easy to get into. The next part, when we're talking about an act of servitude, is domestic duties. Now, some people think that, if they're going to be the sub, they have to do all the cooking, all the cleaning, all these various parts, and that's just not going to happen in most relationships. There's often a division of labor that occurs. However, the really big thing that you can do as an act of service for domestic duties is to find one or two things that your dom really doesn't like. For example, say they really enjoy cooking, but they don't like doing the dishes. By you taking that particular burden off of them that they really don't like, not only are you taking one of the chores where that's been split 50-50, but the impact that that's going to have on your relationship is going to be at least double, because you're taking something that they find particularly burdensome. This is something that they don't want to do, and this is something that you can give to them. So it's really about making the most of what you can and being able to identify the particular needs of your dom. Now, both subs and doms should always develop the basic domestic skills just to take care of yourself and to be able to show that you are taking care of yourself. Because if you're not, how can you take care of someone else? And then once you get more into that relationship, understanding the unique needs of your partner is what's going to elevate that to the next level. This is also going to be same sort of thing for any bedroom theatrics that you might do. Finding one or two particular things that really get your dom off and then being able to focus on those, create very unique memories while not having to try to be everything all the time. Now, a lot of this is going to tie together towards creating what it is that you're trying to give to the dom, and that is peace, beauty, art. Oftentimes, dominants are going to be very efficient based. What's just the best bang for buck? There's not often a lot of times to just sort of stop and smell the roses. So what you're able to do as a submissive is you can create a space for them when they come home, when they're done with whether it's difficulties at their job, with their life, that when they come back to their safe space, you're there and you become their anchor for being able to experience that tranquility, to be able to step outside of the grind that they do day to day. Oftentimes we think that the dom is the one who's providing the anchor for the submissive through their leadership, through their structure, but subs are an anchor for a dom as well. And if you're in a healthy relationship, this is where the idea of coexisting, giving to each other, when you realize that you're both each other's anchor, and that's going to make you stronger together. The next topic we're going to cover is communication, particularly of how you're communicating to your dom within the context of the kinky relationship. Oftentimes, we find that a submissive can melt away in the aura of the dom. We often think that sometimes a sub's duty is to just obey, to listen, but that's not quite the case. Obedience is a virtue. Blind obedience is destruction waiting to happen. We still have to remember at the end of the day that we are two equals coming together, choosing to give different responsibilities and freedoms to each other. And this is going to reflect in the regular communication that you need to have with your partner. And I'm going to go over some of the problems that sometimes happens. Oftentimes the sub may feel like they don't want to speak up, or when they're in the presence of their dom, they're not as able to advocate for themselves as well than when they're on their own or in their day-to-day lives, or if they've got family. It's very easy, but when they're with that special person, they don't want to. And there are ways to still have strong communication if you're finding that this is something you're struggling with. Now, the key thing is to remember that you have to communicate, because if you're not, you're holding back a part of you. And when you're doing that, you can't give to the dom. Your relationship will never be as strong or as great as it could be if you were able to give all of yourself. So whenever there are problems or barriers in your relationship, if you're not resolving them, they're collecting interest. They're going to get bigger and they're going to blow up one day. Not only are they going to blow up one day, you've both wasted years of your lives on something that wasn't going to work in the beginning, that you could have probably solved by just addressing this as part of the foundations of your relationship. So what to do when you kind of struggle to communicate with your dom? You can use a system of journaling. This is where you go off into your own space. You have a book with you. Sometimes I've seen subs have two, one for their sort of rough draft of their thoughts, and then a second one that's sort of the final version that they're going to present to their dom. They're able to take the time to kind of be alone with their thoughts, to be like, okay, is this something that I'm emotionally feeling right now, or is this something that's preventing me from being able to give my all to my dom, that's stopping us from being able to connect? Now, once you've filled that out, you can either talk to your dom while you have the journal, being able to read from it so it's a little bit more confident and easy. You've already formulated your thoughts. If that's still a little too much for you, you can arrange that during your regular communication check-ins, you are making sure you have regular connections or check-ins for your communication, right? Where they're going to be able to read from that book and get an idea of where it is that you are. They can come back and then give their comments, their feedback about it, and maybe then you have to, again, go into your own separate rooms, think about it more, come back together, take as long as you need so that you are actually building the foundations that you need for that successful, spicy relationship. One other thing that I find, particularly if in a newer relationship, or if the dom's also inexperienced or just starting to learn how to do a particular activity, is there's a lot of insecurity that can come up during the scene when you're being romantic with each other. Because doms do want to do something that's going to please their sub, that's really going to turn them on. They want to be the center and the anchor of their pleasure. So if the sub were to reply in a scene just going like, oh, you're not doing it right, or, if you could only read my mind, I'm going to tell you right now, no one read minds. You have to say it. And if you say it early and you get it correct, then it's going to appear like they can read your mind in the future, and you'll both be a lot happier for it. Now, while you're figuring out exactly how your bodies are going to work well and respond properly to each other, you can use certain keywords similar to when you're playing a game. You could say something like, oh, go faster, go slower. I really like it when you did it up here versus over there. I really loved it when you did X. Do that again. Giving these short phrases that are about guiding as opposed to condemning is going to be very successful. There's a game that we used to play when we were younger where you would blindfold someone and you had to direct them to get to a certain spot. And you would then say like, you're getting warmer or colder. That sort of guiding is, again, it's focusing, it's funneling the Dom into the area where they're going to be able to find that successful point. And that exact game can be a great thing to do early on in your relationship outside of anything that's kinky. You can make this a party game where low-key you're sensing how good someone is at communicating with someone else. Have your Dom put on a blindfold, and you have to guide them through your communication to get them safely and successfully to another spot. Because if you can't guide your own Dom to safety, how much do you care? That communication is going to be critical to your success. And the more that you're practicing it and identifying it early on and encouraging that, the stronger your relationship is going to be, and the faster you can get to the fun parts of where you are reading each other's minds. And the last concept we're going to be exploring today is openness to learning. Some of you may be familiar with the term sexual malleability, which has traditionally been referred to where a submissive over time adapts their desires to that of their Dom. And while this is true, it doesn't paint the full picture. One, we need to be working on communication, creating a safe space for our partners for them to be able to feel open enough to be able to open up and enjoy these. But it's not something that pertains just to subs. This works on Doms as well. I can definitely attest that I've had several new kinks unlocked thanks to my partners sharing with me what turns them on and incorporating my own brand to that particular activity, and being able to see them having a lot of fun has definitely turned me on to a lot more different kinks over the decades. So this really does work both ways of where we're slowly beginning to adapt to our environments. You will find that when you have that openness to learn, where you've created those safer spaces, you have that strong communication, you're already understanding yourself in acts of servitude. This is going to lean towards that sexual malleability where you're going to be able to connect more to the likes of your partner. And then you're able to look at pleasure or pleasuring your Dom, not just simply as trying to do something that they like. You're going to be able to see their pleasure as your reward. And this is going to create a positive reinforcement for you to want to continue this. And, well, from the vanilla side of things, I remember one experience of that. I used to go out with my friends in university. They were a little bit ahead of me there. And we would go drinking every night, the same day, the same space. And they would all order a Guinness beer. I absolutely hated Guinness. I refused to ever drink it with them. However, the following year, they were no longer there, but I still went out to the same space and I had a drink. And my first drink was always to order a Guinness, and I would force myself to drink it. I hated it at first, but it reminded me of all the great times that I had with my friends, all the shenanigans that we got involved in, and that was far more enjoyable. And I found out over the course of that year that I started to enjoy Guinness more and more, to where now it's my favorite beer. My family, my friends, they all hate it, but I'm like, I absolutely love it now. And that is, again, that form of malleability where you're able to take an object, an experience, a sensation, and attach to it an emotional connection. And this is where we're really taking control of our relationships and we're able to cultivate them to the ways that we want to succeed as opposed to what might come naturally to us. And this is really the beauty of what we're able to do with spicy relationships, is we are creating those unique experiences that build up over time, that create the success and fun that we're able to have. When you think about it, if you've been in a relationship for 5, 10, 20 years, and you haven't been building on your foundation, you haven't been developing or growing closer together with one another, how much of a relationship do you actually have? How easy would it be for just someone to walk in, do the bare minimum, and all of a sudden be able to bring so much more to the relationship than you've been cultivating for God knows how many years? This is so important for us to be able to work on because it creates the security, the uniqueness, and just more fun. We're here, we're enjoying our fantasy lives, we're enjoying our dedicated lifestyles. We really should be aiming to get the most out of it and really nurturing and growing that with ourselves and our partners. So to wrap up for today, acts of service, the gift that a submissive can give, making sure that you're having good communication so you're able to be open with your dom so that you can explore more and develop deeper connections, along with understanding the importance of openness so that you can find that success. And doms, if you are looking to find the openness to learning, just look at how you have a conversation with someone. Are they open to hearing about ideas that might be different from their own experiences? Are they asking questions? Are they inquiring? This doesn't have to be kinky. This could be about hobbies, a job, a lifestyle. Keeping an eye open for that is going to be able to help notice whether or not this is someone that you can begin to develop a long-term relationship with. So remember to continue to practice this, develop these skills, and you're going to be having more successful spicy relationships. Until next time, take care.